Manivannan. I would rather call as Major Manivannan because I am commissioned as a Major in the Indian Army. My main work is the Indian Administrative Service work, that is the IAS. I got through IAS in the year 1998, so it is the 23rd year running now. I have been allotted to Karnataka cadre, and I am here in Karnataka for all 23 years. After 10 years in the field, now I am working in Vidhan Soudha for the last almost 13 years. And I'm happy to be with Unacademy for this interview because I think this will give some amount of clarity, probably some amount of motivation and inspiration for the aspirants. So you can ask your questions. I'll be happy to answer. I am actually not from a village, but from a small town. Now it's a big city called Tiruchirappalli in Tamil Nadu. I was born in district Madurai. My father worked in Indian Railways as a clerk. So I hail from a lower middle class family. Though I was born in Madurai district, when I was 10 years, we shifted to Tiruchirappalli. And till 10 years, I didn't go to any school. Because those days you had informal education at the home, and because we were 5 brothers, my father thought that when the last child grows up to go to school, then all can go together. So that's how we ended up first in the school in the 5th standard. So I went to 5th, my younger brother went to 3rd, and the last one went to 1st standard. So it's all that happened in Tiruchirappalli when we moved to Tiruchirappalli. So being educated at the home by my mother and going to a school itself was a huge difference in the experience. But sort of picked up because I think the teachers are quite kind, and I picked up. And the entire education happened in Srirangam, the small town. It's a aided school. So we used to have language in English, but the medium of instruction in the class actually was Tamil. So I would say that I was not privileged like many who happened to get education from the convents or from good schools. One can say the infrastructure was not very good, like we never had a huge playground or we never had classrooms with computers, etc. But the school taught a lot of good values. I think I would entirely give the credit to my school and my parents for what I am now. After the school, I went to engineering college. After finishing my engineering in Regional Engineering College, which is called as NIT now, I moved to do my engineering job in Bokaro Steel Plant, Bihar, as a chemical engineer, and then there only I gave the examination. I must say that I was not even aware of UPSC when I finished my college. So those days, maybe in Tamil Nadu, giving IAS was not very popular, but at the same time, we never had an opportunity or exposure towards the civil service. In my entire family, I am the first person to get into UPSC, and it created so much of interest among the other relatives that it's quite possible for people from our community also to get into the civil service, IAS. That led to my own brother getting into the police service and my cousin getting into the Indian Revenue Service. Hitherto, in fact, some of my relatives used to think the very fact that you can actually read, clear an exam and become a collector was unknown to them. They thought that collectors are a different breed who are sent from somewhere to act as collectors, including my mom. So when I told her that I have cleared the exam, she couldn't believe. She thought I never knew that you can actually study and get into become a collector. So this is the sort of background of the Deputy Commissioner of the Collector system in India. So when one studies for this, we should keep in mind that the amount of expectation that people have, and it helps when if you come from a background where you know the problems of the people. Like I would say that many of the officers who are from a humble background are able to be more sympathetic and empathetic to the problems of the people. So if you are from a humble background, if you are struggling in your life, you should consider yourself very lucky, because the chances that you do a very good job in the IIS is very high. And second is, I never had anybody who can, sort of guide me into the civil service. In fact, being the first one, my entire guidance came from my friends who were in Bokaro, who in fact gave me books and who helped me to read. I never had the opportunity to go for coaching, though I went to coaching center for 2 months after clearing my prelims for general studies. But I feel that if you are really committed to the exam and you are willing to completely give your 100%, then nothing will stop you from getting through. One example is standing before you, that I cleared it in spite of not being the gold medalist in the university. In fact, in the college, I found mathematics very difficult. I had failed it twice in my maths paper in the college. So I would consider myself above average and able to do hard work. So if you are above average, able to do hard work, I think getting through civil service is not a difficult task. So if I think why I went for the civil service, the first point is, at that point of time when you are 20 plus, finished the college, you generally want to do the best in life. So either one side you have the attraction of the money, and other side you have the attraction of power, and third is the attraction of comfort. So if you have a job in a government company like SAIL, you have a lot of comfort in the sense the job is settled and your timings are well defined, and it's so much of a routine work. So this type of settled comfort somehow did not make me feel good or happy about it. I wanted to have a more challenging life. So when you wanted to have a challenging life, then you can either choose the one where you go to a private company, you can earn money, and you can do well in life. And another thing is, you get into the civil service and you can you consider yourself powerful enough to bring in change in the lives of the people. So I think I choose the other one because the money never sort of I was never attracted towards money. So I choose this. And one more reason is that I happened to read a book by K.P. Menon. The book's name is Many World. So he was a ICS officer and he has written about the partition and what all work he was able to do those days. So I was quite impressed by that, because I realized that in the civil service, there's actually so much you can do. I mean, you can be actually part of the history. So I thought that, okay, if there is a possibility of doing this, why I have to keep sitting in the steel plant? So that's how I attempted this. And I think that this is a question which if you are able to give a honest answer to yourself, that itself will give you the strength to study for 2 long years and get to the exam. I think I must honestly admit the questions and the syllabus, or the questions I would say, were little easier than now. Maybe because the competition is too high, and now there's a slew of coaching centers who actually strategically prepared you to do the exam. So then everybody is doing well, so it becomes very, very competitive. Those days we didn't have that much of competition. And secondly, I guess if you are passionate about the subject which you are doing, then you will be one among the best in that. So people come and keep asking me, what is the best subject to take in the exam? I only tell them the best subject is the subject which you love. So if you do not like a subject, if you still want to write exam in the subject, just because you think it is going to give you more marks, I think you are making a mistake. The reason being, say you do not like geography, but you think geography can give you more marks. Then what happens is, you will be basically competing with those students who actually love geography, and because of the love, they would have read much more than you do, whatever you do without love. So then they will be able to be ahead of you. Then among them, you will be getting less marks. So it's not going to help you. Whereas if you take the subject which you really like, then you will be definitely much more ahead of others in the subject. That's why you should take the subject which you like. If you are able to choose the subject correctly, plus if general knowledge, general studies interest you, you will be able to score a good mark actually. So you need not have any specialized coaching program for that. Though coaching may help to some people at some time. It's very subjective, because sometimes I see coaching as it takes a lot of your time. But if you are able to understand what I want from coaching, probably if you talk about even this online coaching and all, I would think that it's better, because you can choose what you want to learn exactly, and you need not be cramped in a room like our college or classrooms, and listen to whatever is being told there without having the choice to what to leave and what to take. So if we talk about the training session, okay, yeah, once you get through the civil service, you become extremely happy about it, and that's the phase you really sort of feel on the top of the world. And even your training at Mussoorie, Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, Labasna they call it. It's such a wonderful institute by way of infrastructure, by way of the way of teaching, etc. So it also gives you time to think about what exactly you want to do in the civil service. The academy is in the foothills of Himalayas, and the surrounding is so good that one starts asking question to oneself. It's like it is a time when you talk to yourself. I would say that that's the time I asked a lot of questions about myself, and I'm glad that the path which I took, I have no regrets on that. And the training goes through a period of 2 years. We have first 3 months in the classroom, and you are put up with all other service people, where it is called a foundation course. Doing the foundation course, you make good friends, and you also make you understand other services to some extent, and you make you come across other service friends who will come again bump into you during a service in different points of time. Like we have here in the Bangalore city, officers from the Revenue Service, from the Customs Service, from the Indian Accounts and Audit Service, Defence Estate Service. So all of us happen to be in a loose group because we all had our foundation course together. Then afterwards, they all go to their own institutes. Then it's a 1 year long field experience. Then you again go back. Then you share your experiences. Then you are ready for being parachuted into the real world. That's how it happens. Oh yes, I have to mention, see, the faculties are very good in Labasna. I still remember K.N. Kumar, who later went to head the Institute for Integrity in Civil Services. And I remember Tarun Sridhar, Mrs. Manisha Sridhar. They were very passionate about teaching us. So if at all there is something which is missed out, the blame is on us, the students, and not on the faculty. They were really, really good. And what they taught is that, one is they tried to tell us that we can't teach you what is IAS. The first thing, they said you have to learn by doing it. And they also told the importance of honesty, integrity. In fact, they were trying to tell in such a way that they said that unless you are honest and you are very honest, whatever victory you get in your civil service, that will not give you happiness. And I think there must be an element of truth in that, because I found that people who have been very honest, having I would say a peaceful retired life, and they don't regret whatever they did. So I think Labasna gives a lot of importance on the integrity and the I would say the personal framework of your service. The academic inputs, I think, may need a lot of improvement, or probably the academic inputs are more bookish, so we are not able to understand what happens on the ground. So that's something which the academy actually allows you to explore, because each state has a different culture. I remember B.V.R. Subramaniam, who later went to become the secretary in the PM's office. She once remarked saying that if you guys meet after 10 years, if you share your experience, the differences in the culture of administration in each state is so different, you will find very few common things. Then I think you are completely right. So we work in a different environment compared to other states, and what we learn in the academy gives us a strong foundation to be honest and to be an effective civil servant. I don't think I ever got time to even think about these things. It has been a very hectic journey, very fulfilling, and there have been a lot of learnings. So, because we work in a different type of environments, you go through failures, you go through situations where you at times feel that opportunity or chance does have a say in the outcome of things. It makes you a little humble in spite of the power attached with this job. And I think you should take it easy. The then Chief Secretary once told me that you should work with a detached attachment. So, meaning that you should be passionate about your work, but that passion should be with a limit. So, the minute you are transferred, you should pack your bag and go. You should not think about, oh, how I have been working very passionately in this department. They transferred me, what should I do? So that's what I learned also. My seniors also tell me actually. They say that after you have been transferred, you should not stay even for one day in the post. I'm very happy that I followed it. Never ever I stayed in a post after I transferred more than say 24 hours. So that is possible. I'm saying that not with any remorse. Happily one should leave the place, but that's what you call as detached attachment. Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure to talk to you. I've been an admirer of Roman Saini and his friend Gaurav Munjal. So I think he had dared to dream, and he has made the dream a reality. I salute him for his courage, and my best wishes to all of you who are with Unacademy. I'm sure that Unacademy is doing a lot of things pro bono also. So e-learning or learning through remote is going to be the main thing, particularly after this COVID. So I would say that this is an excellent opportunity to get exposed to so many things which people like us were not privileged earlier. So use it, and like Roman Saini had a dream, all of you should have a dream, and if you work for it courageously, not having fear in mind, you'll achieve it. Thank you very much.